Driving change in maritime. Welcome to another podcast of TechPlay. Today we will have a conversation with Bobeldijk from UAB-Online, all about the ship-to-shore operations in the liquid bulk. Really looking forward to this conversation. Hans, welcome in the TechPlay podcast. Really good to have you in. I was actually tempted to start speaking in Dutch because we were already chit-chatting in front, but welcome.
Thank you.
I think before we deep dive into the topics of maritime and the ship-to-shore operations and what we're going to talk about, I think it's good for the audience if you could share a bit more about who is Hans Bobeldijk and how did you end up in the maritime industry?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's a funny story. Hans Bobeldijk, CEO of UAB-Online, and how I end up in the maritime industry. It goes back to 10, 15 years ago. I had my own web design company and grew that to 10 employees, but I was, after 5 or 10 years, doing all day the same stuff. I was bored about that, was looking for something new, and we came in contact with some companies making maritime applications, and after that, again, I had my own web design company, was still bored about doing the whole day the same job, and customers complaining about yellow is better than green and green is better than blue, etc. And then I came across UAB-Online and had a conversation with the former entrepreneur of UAB-Online. He wants a website, so discussed about our proposal, etc. And then I was asking him some information, and then I thought, you won't buy a website, you won't sell your company. And I thought, okay, this could be a very good opportunity for me. And I think 2 months later, I bought the company with my partners and start with a new job. After 2 years later, I sold the web design company, and now we are fully focused on UAB-Online.
Okay. And what do you like about maritime?
Yeah, I think it's big. You can make a lot of impact because it's so conservative, and there's so much to do in the maritime industry. I think a small thing can have big impact, and I think that's what I like.
I think about making impact and the change required to that. I think that's an interesting topic to step on a bit further in the conversation. But one of the questions I always like to ask is like, if you look at the maritime industry, you've learned in these 10, 15 years a lot on what is happening. And if people are talking about the maritime industry, they have a hunch. But what is the thing that stands out for you? What is the thing that people should know about the maritime industry or and in many cases don't know?
Yeah, you know, we are acting in the liquid bulk industry, maritime industry. And what we see that it's all big companies, all big names, the oil majors, the big storage companies. A vessel that's coming to their facilities costs 25,000 euros a day. And then they start preparing the operations. They start exchanging documents when the vessel is at berth instead of before. So they lose a lot of time by doing that after arrival, and that's with such big companies. It's totally crazy that they accept this waste of time.
So the reactive is still the reactive nature of the industry. That is what people are underestimating.
Yeah, and then if you would like to change that, then that's quite difficult because we're doing this for years and it works, and everyone do it on this way. So why would we change that? Yeah. So yeah.
Well, you kind of manage with one of the products that you do have to change that or to digitize part of that product. Can you elaborate a bit more on this ship to shore part where you're working on?
Yeah. What you see is that normally it starts with preparing the operation and exchanging the information when the vessel is at birth. And we think that's a waste of time. So we started in 2010, and it's quite early with the inland vessels, by optimizing the process and getting all this information before the vessel arrives. So we enable operators at liquid bulk terminals to prepare the operations before the vessel arrives, cut out deviations, and speed up the administrative process. So they can, after arrival, you can start directly with a real conference, talking about how to transfer safe the cargo from ship to shore. That's what we are doing with UAB.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I think we have a couple of customers, and one of the things is like this vessel is reporting that it will arrive in 2 days, or will be there in 4 hours. But again, it's still in Amsterdam, but it is not close to where it needs to be. So that is the things that we are monitoring. But you are looking really at the document flow of things too.
And what we hear a lot is that terminal or operators are complaining the vessels are falling out of the sky.
Yeah,
I think you know that comment.
I read that statement. A vessel dropping out of the sky. It's like it just arrives, and I think that's typically the behavior of the industry. It's like you start acting once the vessel is there, and you don't look even. When it's at the quay, you start operations. Yeah. I think it has changed. It is changing quickly, but do you have some examples that you can share? Like, we were talking about this change, and operators need to start acting in a different way, becoming more proactive. What are things that have stuck to your mind?
I think maybe the first thing is starting with a product like ours is when the terminal or the organization is quite small, there's no project manager. Then we see, for example, a shift leader is assigned to do the job and to implement it, and then one thing for sure, that the project is delayed for 3 or 4 months, because they are quite unsure about launching a new functionality. And I think the issue with a product like ours is that we have impact on the core process. So they are afraid of changing that without being sure that all is tested 10 or 1,000 times. So that's always the case. And if there's no dedicated project lead with also the experience of a project lead, then again the project is delayed for a few months. And what we've changed, for example, in that is making it easier and do a step-by-step implementation. To feel them more comfortable by the go-live. And that we changed that last year. And so we changed the go-live, the average time of go-live from 3 months till 2 weeks. So that's really great. But again, if you make use of a tool like UAB-Online and you receive all the information up front, but you still not preparing your operation, then there's the question: what's the value of the project? So it's also really change management in telling the people why they need to make use of the product. And I think that's also we are also changing or growing in that, because before it was always we have an e-learning, we have a product tour, etc. But now we are more focusing on the why. Why should you use UAB? Why is it important that you prepare your operation? And what's the impact if you do not prepare the operations? And we think that is helping the employees or the operators more than an e-learning or a product tour.
Okay. And you've done lots of implementations. It's being used, I think, almost everywhere in the ARA region. What is the biggest compliment that you have received on that one?
I think more and more terminals are mentioning you are the industry standard. We trust you. If this is the standard, we will accept the standard. And of course, there are always big oil majors that can't adapt the standard. But nowadays, more and more terminals are agreeing on one standard and trust that we are the authority, or we are the one who has the most experience in it, and they trust us and accept it.
Okay. And we were touching upon you started from barging, also going to sea vessels. Can you elaborate a bit on the difference in the process?
I think the biggest difference is that for the seagoing vessels, there's a shipping agent involved, and we were afraid of that by launching it in 2021 because sometimes we get a question: are you going to do our job, the shipping agency job? Because in the traditional way, the shipping agent is the man in the middle. The terminal forward the information to the shipping agent forwarded to the vessel sent back to the agent, and then UAB pops up and say we make it possible to directly connect with the vessel. But nowadays, the agents are asking our customers or our potential customers, why don't you make use of UAB? Because it makes life such easier. And I think the role of the agent is the most important difference between barges and seagoing vessels. And it's not that we would like to take over that job, but we think it's also not the most finished part of the agent to send back and forward all kind of emails. Yeah. It's a disruption factor and a possible delaying factor. We solve that, and I think they can concentrate them on being the eyes and ears in the local port and help the vessel with the real needs. Yeah.
As I mentioned before, you started in the ARA. You're looking now to grow to a global scale. What are the challenges that you do see in that journey?
It's of course organizational challenges, but also now going to the US, in the Houston market, it's really a big difference if you compare it to the Rotterdam area. A lot of other challenges, and then you need to become there also a trusted party. And if you look to our history, we started in 2010, and our barges were our ambassadors. They were sailing along the river and asking every terminal, why don't you make use of UAB-Online? And then we decided to start in Houston, or to start expanding globally, without a marketing department, without a sales department, because the marketing department, our barges were our marketing department. But for seagoing vessels, what maybe enters a few times the Rotterdam port, we can not expect that they would be our ambassador or marketing partner. So building the total company, building a marketing department, a sales department, that's quite a big challenge. Yeah. Then the differences in the market, the difference in what do you expect of a product of UAB-Online. And now, of course, also in the US or in the EU, we are focusing on making processes more safe, more efficient, and more sustainable. And then in the US, sustainable isn't that important. So changing that now to making it more reliable to get the right feeling by our customers.
Yeah. So we were touching upon the standard. You kind of set the standard in the AA region for that, and taking that abroad. I did have a couple of discussions before, as well, on the standardization part. I'm curious about what is your take on it. How do you? Does there need to be a standard set up front? Would that help, or is it? Do you believe in more in the way it matures? Or it grows organically, kind of?
I believe more in the organic way, because, of course, the other way is also good, but then in the most of the times it ends with talk without doing anything. And I think that's the problem, always talking about making a standard, etc. But to implement it, then you are years away from here. And I think what we've done in the ARA region is we started, and after having 10 customers, we checked what's the overlap in customers and how can we change that and making a standard, because for us it's also important to have a standard, because a customized version for each terminal is not really maintainable. Yeah. So we like a standard, but we don't like to talk about standard, talk. We like to act instead of...
Now, standardization is kind of blocking the doing thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that is, you kind of need them, but it's also like, when do you need them, or is it stopping you from... I really can relate to that.
Funny story in the ARA region. We've created, I think in 2019 or something like that, the local EU regulation. It's called the ADN checklist, and we came in contact with the ILTA, the Dutch enforcement Dutch enforcement organization agency, and after getting approval, and it was we have a lot of big steps to make before we can do that. After that, we thought, yes, finally, the next document that we will create is not a regulatory document, but it's more from the market. And after 2 months developing on the second document, we thought, okay, it's better to do a regulatory document with a standard than the market standard, because the market standard, everyone make some changes on that, and then there is no standard.
Okay, that's interesting. I think these are very important lessons as well if you are starting a company in these kind of areas in that sense. One of the drivers that we as TechPlay do have is making an impact, operational efficiency, exposing waste and risk. That is what we are aiming for. If you look at what you have been building, do you have any idea, or are you able to quantify what is it that it is bringing to the table?
Yeah. If you look to our current position, I think in 2024, more than 120,000 vessel visits flows via our platform. So that's quite big. And then we save approximately 90 minutes of delay at the jetty. If you take a look to a seagoing 90 minutes of delay at the jetty, but then if it's a big terminal, there's also a waiting queue. And we save also a lot of time at the waiting queue, because if you shorten the lead time, the next vessel can come earlier to your jetty. So we save 90 minutes again. And for seagoing vessels, I thought it's up to 2,000 tons of CO2 per vessel visit. So that's quite big.
The other thing, you are providing tools, digitization. I think it's getting it into the operational organization is one thing. There is, I think, also another thing of connecting to systems. And I think in maritime, there are a lot of legacy systems as well, or the Excel sheets. What is your experience in that area? What should people be aware of if they enter into this market?
Yeah. I think we have luck, because we have the possibility, or I think most of our customers start without an API connection. But talking about an API connection, you know one thing for sure, your project is delayed with 6 months. and everyone is talking about data sharing, etc. But at the end, I think since 2024, it's become more and more important. Now we have maybe 40 or 50% of our customers with an API connection, but before maybe 1 or 2 have a real connection. And also we have with one of the big oil majors an API connection, and now need to change it from an old to a new version. That's again a hell of a job. So it's the automation with systems. That's always difficult, and it's also a conservative market. We would like to share via our platform, for example, planning details to the stakeholders to ensure that the surveyor can plan their resources, know that they can come at the right time at the jetty. But then if you are doing your jetty planning in Excel or Word on a whiteboard, or Word in the daily morning meeting, who yells the loud, get the best place of the first place. And that's if you would like to change that, that's difficult.
And then the other thing, you focus on liquid bulk. Why is it liquid bulk? Why is it not dry bulk? Is it the particulars about the commodity? Is it the...
To be honest, when we bought the company, we thought we will transfer this from liquid bulk to dry bulk. And I think it's still on our roadmap. But there is so much to do also in the liquid bulk that we are still improving the liquid bulk. And after that, we will hopefully do at some moment also the dry bulk, break bulk, maybe containers, but containers, there's a lot more digitalization in containers. So I don't know if there's an added value for the customer to use UAB in containers. So
that's definitely one of the biggest differences between containers and cool. Looking ahead, and then let go a bit of your specific product. If you look at the industry, what are the things that you are seeing that are going to happen with digitization, with innovation? What do you expect?
If you look to the industry, I think standardization will become more and more important. But also, I think specific for the liquid bulk industry, there is the wrong incentive to sail fast and then wait, and there are popping up more and more initiatives to solve that, and I think that's a really good, a good thing, because sail fast and then knowing that you need to wait for 3 weeks because it's quite busy at the terminal, that's a waste of fuels and a waste of CO2 emissions.
Yeah. I think that is really an important one. There are a lot of challenges, I would say, in that space, contractually, and there are a lot of incentives which are organized completely different.
We are both in the same port co-optimization meeting with the Port of Rotterdam and other ports. So hopefully that turns out to the first pilots. I think it is really important that we keep on looking, and I think the lessons that you have been learning as well in the ship to shore operations, which is kind of the smaller brother of the bigger scope. I think you can enhance on that one. Yeah. Okay, Hans, I really would like to thank you for being on the podcast. I really enjoyed the conversation. Again, learned a few new things about how you were doing it and the liquid bulk part. So thanks a lot. Thank you.
I hope the audience enjoyed it as much as I did. Thank you.